Welcome to Tilly's Trans Tuesdays. It's less than a week until my birthday. Seems I keep having them every year, and thank goodness. Birthdays can be weird for lots of people, but for some trans people like me, they're extra strange. So let's talk trans birthdays and a letter to little Tilly. Hi, I'm Tilly Bridges, your host, and I'm joined by my writing partner, my best friend, my wife, our token cis representation, the lady who's the best gift I could ever get, Susan Bridges.
Hello.
Our guest this week is Nazul Suli Sobrino, a storyboard artist for TV animation who has worked at studios such as Nickelodeon and Titmouse. Her most recent credits include Max and the Midnights and Monster High. She is passionate about proper representation and inclusivity in children's media, especially in regards to LGBTQ+ and neurodiverse identities. As a Mexican-American daughter of mariachis, she has grown up with a strong importance on one's pride in their identity, as well as a love of music and performance. Outside of her work as a board artist, she enjoys playing jazz and writing music, trying out restaurants and new recipes, and playing in excessive amounts of D&D campaigns. Welcome, Suli.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Okay, so how did you get into animation, and what made you want to be a storyboard artist?
I mean, I wish this was like a longer story, but it was pretty much just in like middle school. Like our computer labs had Adobe Flash on them and like the animation software, so I used to like fiddle around with them. And then it just kind of like got me to want to have it on my own home computer. And I convinced my parents to get like the Adobe Suite just so I could like fiddle around. And then it eventually just became all I ever did. And so like other kids were like, going to each other's houses, like having fun playing outside. And I was like, no, I have to draw pictures in motion. And that's like, I don't know, I didn't have hobbies, but eventually that led me to doing like animation work in high school.
Wow.
Which, probably should have been paid, probably should have not been exploiting a high schooler.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't know any better, but it was just kind of like the thing that put the nail in the coffin. Like, I love animation stuff. And so I went into college initially wanting to do like pixel art and like sprite animation for like video games and stuff like that. And then at some point I just kind of got sick of it. I don't know. But I was like, but this is what I do and this is what I'm good at. And where do I find what I like? And I took a storyboard class and then that really clicked for me. And I haven't turned back since. It's all I've done. Here I am later. Oh God, now 7 years since I have been in the industry. Yeah.
That's amazing though, that you have this through line, like from your childhood all the way through. Like, I didn't know as a kid that I wanted to be a writer, but I mean, like when I look back, I was always like, inventing long, complicated, intricate stories for my action figures, which is writing, right? But like, I didn't know back then that I wanted to be a writer, or I didn't write a bunch of stories, and that you can trace that all the way back to your childhood is so cool. Like, does that ever hit you like you're living your dream and this is an amazing thing? Little you would be so proud.
It does.
Yeah.
It also like doesn't surprise me though. Because there really was no other option for me. Like even, I mean, my mom, for example, didn't really know anything about animation or film or stuff like that. But I mean, my little quirk, I guess, as a child of 10 to 14 was that I would watch Lord of the Rings every weekend.
Wow.
Like the whole trilogy Was this a precursor to my autism diagnosis? Probably. But my mom would always like catch me and she'd be like, "What are you doing? Why are you watching it?" And I'm like, "I'm really fascinated by like this shot where they use the helicopter." I was always talking about like camera stuff, and she's like,
Yeah.
that you're definitely gonna be like a person who does this as an adult." And I'm like, maybe. But it's like even back then, my mom would be telling me like, "You're gonna be a cinematographer." And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm 12. But yeah, it was just there was not really any other path for me. It was either going to be storyboards or just like something related to like visual media
Yeah.
to storytelling, but from like the visual perspective.
Sure. Do they give you a lot of freedom as a storyboard artist on like shot selection and how you set those up, or is that sort of dictated to you? Because I don't know if listeners like probably don't know, but like in animation, we're all kind of siloed off from each other. So us writers don't like get to talk to the storyboard artists like hardly ever. So I have no idea what it's like.
I mean, it really depends on the show. Every show has its
Sure.
own kind of different approach to what it does.
Yeah.
On Monster High, for example, there was a lot more freedom. And granted, we did have like a specific look to the show that we had to
Yeah.
follow, but there was a lot more freedom whenever I was given stuff to board. And generally speaking, I would just go through whatever felt right to me, and then I would show it to my director Ariel, and then she'd approve it or tell me something needs to be revised, and it would just be a pretty simple process like that. And then I've been on other shows that were completely different. Max and the Midnights, they did kind of like a previs step where the directors would figure out what it would look like in 3D first, and then they would bring it to us, and then we would just draw over it.
Oh, wow. That feels kind of backwards.
So it's interesting. Like it can really just go either way. In like the beginning of my career, or when I first, I guess, got into the union with Titmouse, I was on a show called Chicago Party Haunt, and it's like your typical like adult animation 2D
Yeah.
puppet show. And that one was also really really strict, where like the directors would select the locations and everything like that. And then at that point in time, I was a revisionist, but like the storyboard artist drew things really roughly, and then it was my job to like actually just like place the puppets, like place the character head, and then select the bodies, and just kind of like fill in the gaps if there was different poses that weren't drawn in. And it was very very like, I don't want to say rigid, but just like formulaic, I guess is the better word for it.
Yeah. It sounds like it would be that method of it is would be more like creatively stifling a little
Yeah.
bit.
And so
Yeah.
I of course prefer where I get to make the shot
Sure.
choices, but it's just such a broad job title, I guess. We do a lot of
Yeah.
things.
Okay. Well, for you, what has been the best thing about transitioning?
Oh, I mean, everything really.
It's hard to pick. There's so many good
It is hard
things.
to pick, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure this is an answer that your other guests have given or that you feel yourself, but it really just does feel like I was able to start my life.
Yeah.
And of course, I was just speaking about like fond memories of childhood and everything, but those were all like things I like, things I do, but they weren't like who I was.
Sure.
And so for a long time in my life, I just kind of followed suit with what people expected of me and just kind of wore the
Yeah.
mask well, and I never really felt like I got to be in control of my own life. And
Yeah.
once I started transitioning, not only did I wrest that control back to myself, but it really did feel like I finally just had, well, I mean, yeah, myself. I finally had who I wanted to be, and I finally got to just experience joy
Yeah.
and love of life and desire for life that
Yeah.
before they were there, but they were there because people told me they had to be there, and not because it
Right.
just came from within.
Yeah, it's amazing how much like you don't even know ahead of time. You're like, I hope this is going to make things better for me, and I think it will, but you don't know the extent to like, oh, I didn't really know what it was like to be happy before and not have this huge part of my life weighing me down with awfulness. It's like it's such a freeing thing. It's kind of amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, on the flip side of that, then, what has been the worst or maybe one of the most difficult parts of transitioning for you?
Well, to just be very open about it, since
Yeah.
I do feel like I am very open anyway at this point in my life, but it's just been, I guess, difficult feeling like I wasn't betraying the people who I guess knew me before,
Mm.
or that they wouldn't be upset with me or have problems with who I was as a person, or just not really
Yeah.
accept me. Like I've had a lot of friends that, or had a lot of friends, I guess, at the time, that once I did transition didn't really want to associate with me anymore.
No, I'm so
I've had
sorry.
family
That's terrible.
members that still don't really get it right. They still misgender me when we have like family
No,
gatherings. They don't get it. And I've been transitioning for a long time. So there's really no excuse.
there's no excuse. You deserve better.
Like it's just a large part of it for me is that I come from like a Catholic Mexican family, and that
Yeah.
is exactly what you expect it to be. And so it doesn't really lend for a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
And so while those who are close to me, like my sister, there was never any resistance. They are always very accepting, but some of my more outward family members, and then also my dad, who is a very large topic for me,
Mm.
there has been resistance. There has been just kind of an inability to really just kind of accept it and move on. It's just I don't kind of enjoy feeling like I still have to hold on to two separate lives, like my own,
Yeah.
and then the one that I have to appease others with.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to do that. And, I think a lot of us struggle with that feeling like by transitioning, by coming out as our true selves, we are betraying people who knew us beforehand and thought we were someone else. But I feel like a lot of that's what society wants us to feel and think, right? And it's like when you look at it, like we weren't lying to people about who we were. We were trying to be who they said we were and who they said we had to be. And we figured out that that wasn't true, right? They're the ones who were wrong about who we were. And so when we come out and live our truth and be ourselves, that's when we're correcting the problem. So I totally get those feelings, but it's not your fault. You did what you had to do, and I'm sorry that you have to deal with that because it's really rough and really hard.
Yeah. And like I have a recent story, unfortunately.
Oh no.
But so my mom passed away in 2015, and I she passed away before I was able to come out and transition, but I know she would have been very supportive about it. And so that was kind of what had spurned me to start transitioning, is like I have to live my life.
Yeah.
But recently, earlier this year, we had the 10th anniversary of her passing. We had a mass for it. And so, like, not to make this a thing where it's like, oh, this is a very sad event, but what about me kind of thing. But it was just like, I felt so frustrated because this is an event that is for me, my sister, our immediate family mostly, and of course, like extended family, they always come and they make it their big thing. So I was already feeling really frustrated about it. And then like again, this is 10 years. So I
Yeah.
had started coming out the very same year that my mom had passed. And so 10 years later, I still have like these family members coming up to me and like calling me like mijo, mijito, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm just like, do you see how I'm dressed? Do you see how I look? Do you see how like
Yeah.
is there, does anything click in your head at all? And I get like it's habitual. If it was like a year or two in, sure. I am very forgiving with people, but I think 10 years is ridiculous. And
It is.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It's hard because you want to be connected with your family, but at the same time I'm losing, I guess, my interest in continuing any kind of relationship with someone who just can't give me basic respect anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. You shouldn't have to put up with that. I mean, we all deserve that as humans, right? Just the basic respect of using our names and our correct pronouns. It's not that hard. Like I'm always really understanding with people as long as they're trying, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if you mess up early on in my transition, it's going to hurt, but if I know you're trying, if you apologize and you're like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I'm, still learning or trying to remember, that's okay. But like 10 years in, there is no excuse. That person is not trying, and that's unacceptable, and you deserve better than that.
Yeah, I agree. Like it really is the effort that matters the most.
Yeah, we don't demand perfection. We just demand, compassion. Just try. That's all
Yeah.
we're asking.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, before we get into this week's topic, do you want to let folks know where they can find you online after listening?
So I am primarily active on Blue Sky when it comes to social media. So you can find me Blue Sky at Suli, Suli. If you are interested in my storyboard work, you can either find me at nazulsobrinoart.com, or it's also linked on my Blue Sky. And yeah, that's actually everything.
Excellent. You should all go do that. All right. So let's talk about birthdays. My first one after coming out was so strange. It was the first one in my entire life that I got to spend as the real me, except that was much less the real me than I was on the birthday following, or every one after that. So in a way, each of them was like an entirely new thing, though I think they've kind of evened out now. They felt deeply weird at first. Birthdays have always been a bit odd for me, though. They were fine when I was a kid, as they are for many kids, there's cake, presents, and maybe a party with your friends, even though the world still seemed wrong and broken. But looking back, what little of them I can remember are still tinged with sadness and pain, and they always will be. And if you'd like more info on why the past can be so incredibly difficult for trans people who transition as adults, I've done a series of 5 episodes on the topic, trying to reconcile with the past that was stolen from me. You can find those in episode 2 on the past and why it haunts us, episode 118 on the past 2, the new past, episode 48 and 49, the past 3, trans grief 1, and the past 4, trans grief 2, and episode 109 on the past 5, recovering trans childhoods. So before I get into more of what this was like for me, Suli, I wanted to ask, what were childhood birthdays like for you? Like, do you remember them? Were they meaningful in any way? Were they weird?
Definitely weird.
Yeah.
I don't think, at least through childhood, I ever had bad birthdays or didn't enjoy my birthday, but it was more so that as a child I was like, oh boy, cake, food, video games,
Yeah,
playing, yeah,
right?
like fun stuff. Like I had fun on my birthdays, but there was always still something that was weird about it, and I never had words for it for most of my life.
Yeah, same.
And I think it was that it was almost a sense of disbelief, I guess, that it was my birthday. It was my own aging. Like I recognized the fact of it, but it never felt like it was my birthday, even though I was being celebrated, and
Yeah.
I didn't really know how to put that into words for a long time.
Yeah, it's a really weird thing because when you don't understand at all why you feel that way, it's like, how do you even explain it? And Susan, I want to ask you, as a cis person, like, what were childhood birthdays like? Like, I have no frame of reference for this. Were they really celebratory? Were you like, wow, I'm a year older. This is so cool. Everyone's celebrating me. And you felt like
I
you?
hated being around people, and I generally, if there was any kind of party, it was probably a family party,
Right.
which I did not wish to be a part of. Then I would hide in the basement and read books.
Okay, so that's how you would prefer to celebrate your birthday, is just being alone reading.
Yeah, but that's how I like every day.
It is true. Yes, but okay,
I don't think I have a good example.
You're not a great sample for the cis folks out there. Well, you are representing all cis people. That's what you're here to do.
I only remember I had one birthday at Burger King when I was 5.
Okay.
Someone gave me a mug.
Did you get that little paper crown they had?
I do not remember anything about them.
Someone gave you a 5-year-old a mug?
Yes.
What?
I still have it. It says happy birthday to you. It's probably 80% lead and
wow. What a terrible gift for a 5-year-old.
I thought it was a cool mug.
Okay.
So, and you know I'm obsessed with mugs.
You are.
So this is probably why. Look, we've uncovered something today.
It started early.
Well, in my mid-20s, birthdays all started to blend together, but I imagine that happens for everyone. I remember 30 feeling a bit different, even though I don't remember the day itself, but then they all blended together again after. And I couldn't tell you what I did for any of my birthdays now. They've never been that special, I guess. Susan and our kid and I might go out for dinner, or if it was a weekend before it priced us out of going, we'd maybe go to Disneyland or something. But even then, they never really meant anything to me. I was getting older and happy to be married to my best friend and loving our amazing kid and loving writing, and that was it. And the fact that I felt dissociated and disconnected from the world and my own life probably has a lot to do with that. Listen to Gender Dysphoria in episode 59 of this show for more on that. But birthdays were always just a happy excuse to see people I love and eat food I like and get presents. Beyond that, even as a kid, it never felt celebratory to me. What's to celebrate? It's just the day I was born. Who cares? Well, being an adult and continuing to exist, especially in our present climate, feels heroic. Between COVID and half the country wanting to strip my rights away and the actual literal climate, just surviving is a big deal. When you're trans in this environment, persistence in existence is resistance. Beat that into your brains. It's true. And we're not just surviving. Susan and I are writing our best stuff ever. We've never been happier or more excited about the work we're doing. We worked on Star Trek Prodigy and Monster High, the latter of which we won an inaugural Velma Award for LGBTQIA+ representation in children's media. Our trans sci-fi short film Long Away is playing festivals around the world, and the response has been amazing. We're writing the Star Trek Voyager Homecoming comic series and have 2 more graphic novels on the way with different publishers. And there's a new animated show we're writing for and so much more. And it's all so wonderful despite the state of the world. But I look back and wonder what birthdays would have been like as a kid if I had been able to be myself. I try to imagine what knowing that I was transgender would have felt like, and I just don't know. And it fills me with pangs of sadness and regret for the childhood I never had, for all the birthdays I could have had that might have meant so much more. What would it be like to be seen and accepted and celebrated for the real me every year of my life? Goodness. I didn't get to be a little girl. I didn't get to be a teen girl. I didn't even get to be a woman in her 20s. Those are experiences I've been robbed of and that I can never get back because time still stubbornly only moves in one direction because time's a goddamn jerk. Transphobic society steals years of life from so many trans people, and that's for those of us who survive to adulthood. And there's no other way to say it, and no softening the pain and damage that causes. I will never get back the childhood or teen years and young adulthood that should have been mine. How has dealing and reconciling with the past been for you, Suli? Is it something you struggle with?
Absolutely. Kind of echoing what you said, like I think back often as well that I never got to be a little girl, or I didn't get to experience teenhood. And it's definitely hard. And I mean, at the very least, like I know that I'm where I am right now is where I want to be. And the way that I get to celebrate myself, celebrate my birthdays now does finally feel fulfilling. But I do look on the past with a lot of regret. I often think, like, what if I was able to transition earlier?
Yeah.
For a long time, I didn't know I was trans. I didn't know what the word was. I didn't have any access to understanding what being transgender meant for a large part of my childhood. But if I had known, things could be so different now. I wish I could have transitioned early, just before puberty, because who doesn't really? Everyone wants that. Even into my my teen years or early adulthood, like the earlier I could have started, the more of my life I could have experienced. And I let fear of what other people thought stop me for a long time. And I
Yeah.
regret it. I really wish I could have experienced all of those years.
Yeah, me too.
If I was able to like live my life earlier, I could have experienced, I guess, just like the milestones that felt significant to me. I could have
Yeah.
really just I don't like having like the void in my head, just like knowing it's never gonna be there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's a great way of putting it. And like, I don't, this is what I wanted to ask you is like, I have found recently, and it was a really big surprise to me. I got this backpack, and I wrote all about it in the past five, that recovering trans childhoods. It's this like cutesy kid girly backpack that's got planets and rocket ships on it in like, purple and pink colors. And I was like, that's something I would have loved to have as a kid. And when I got it, it like exploded my heart. It felt like it was this piece of my childhood. Like little me would have totally had this backpack and she would have loved it and it would have meant so much to her. And it felt a little bit like that gave a little piece back to me that I had been missing. Have you had anything like that, or have you found yourself drawn to like things that you didn't get to have in childhood?
I mean, I guess really it is just like clothes and fashion and like feeling myself in how I dress.
Yeah,
I do think, just based on how I am, that I probably wouldn't have been someone who likes a lot of like pink and hyper like feminine
sure.
stuff like that anyway as a kid. And for the record, like I know this is a podcast so no one sees me, but you've seen me from like the Monster High parties and everything like that. So for frame of reference, I am all like purple, black, skulls and bat wings, etc., etc.
But those are
So
awesome.
those are awesome. But definitely I think if I were born as a cisgender woman, I probably would have like thrown up a little bit of a stink getting something like really pink and frilly. But nonetheless, just like being able to just form my style, form my clothing, get the accessories, the like you said, the even just backpacks,
Yeah.
just things to really fill out my space. And for me, a big one was my room. Like I don't know how much you've thought about this or if you've like done this with your room, but like growing up, like my sister had her separate room that she got to decorate to be like teen girl room, everything that you'd expect in that. And then my room, like it was just a dark desaturated blue and just like
Yeah.
plain like wooden desk, wooden drawers, etc.,
Yes,
etc.
mine
Like
was the
like
same, except instead of that dark blue, I had black, and I don't even like black, and I had
oh
black
my god.
everything because I felt so terrible. So I
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
get it.
It's
That was
like
very similar.
yeah, and it's just I don't know why that was such a big thing. And on top of that, like just kind of segueing back to the birthday thing, like it was
Yeah.
birthdays, especially in like my teen years, were very dysphoric, and the way that like I was treated, just kind of, or I guess perceived rather than treated, was very dysphoric as well. And so in my like plain dark blue room with my plain wooden everything for furniture, like if it was a birthday, my dad would come in and he'd be like, "I got you a birthday present," and it'd be like a weightlifting set. And I'm like,
Mm.
"What?" One, I mean, again, for frame of reference, I am a twig. I have never lifted anything more than 5 pounds in my life. I can do approximately 2 push-ups.
That's two more than zero.
That is true. That is true. And so like even as a teen, like I never liked working out. It was never my
Yeah.
hobby. I was always into like movies and games. And so it just kind of just felt like there wasn't an understanding of me anyway, regardless of gender. But it
Yeah.
just adds on to this dysphoria that like, oh well, you're 15, you get a weightlifting set. Oh, let's get you all these like dark and dreary like things for your room because that's otherwise it's gonna be seen as, oh no, feminine.
Yeah. Can't have that.
Can't have that. And
Yeah.
so, like nowadays, like the very first thing I did when I moved to my apartment was decorate my room exactly how I wanted it. I have my like maroon to purple walls. I have like ivy and plants. I have like witchy stuff everywhere.
I love
Like
that.
it gets to feel like me.
Yeah.
And I guess that's my backpack.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think like getting to have the room you wish you'd always had is huge. That's
Yeah.
huge. I'm so glad you did that. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Well, when I look back and think about what if I'd been able to transition or know my truth as a kid, I realize that it is all just a gossamer dream anyway, because my home life was such that I certainly wouldn't have been able to explore my gender or live it. I'd have been forced to hide it and repress it, and that's already what I was doing. I would have been told I was not trans, and they would have attempted to force it out of me. So what is worse, living with the feeling that the world is somehow wrong and I don't fit, or living with knowing why and how to fix it but being trapped and kept away from it? Either way is awful, and I'm so envious of trans folks who figured it out young and have supportive families that let them explore and find themselves. I have no idea what that's like. It's something all of us should have. It shouldn't be something we have to hide and a pain that we're forced into. But I've also mentioned many times in these episodes that if I had known earlier and had been able to explore it and transition earlier, it would have changed my life in every conceivable way. And then I might not have ever found Susan, and we might not have our wonderful kid, and I would never trade either of those things. But that doesn't stop the well of pain. That's like a hole in my heart at wondering what might have been. And so part of me wishes that I was born a cis girl, because how much easier life would be. Not that cis women have it easy, mind you, but they have it a damn sight better than us trans women. But I don't want to be cis, if that makes sense. It's not like I'm ashamed of being trans or sad about it. I love being trans and wouldn't change it for the world. I just wish I could exist in a world that accepts me as me from the get-go and only ever sees me for who I really am. You have no idea the kind of courage it takes for every trans person to exist in this world. It shouldn't take courage, mind you, but it does. Check out episode 17 of this show on trans courage for more. And so this is like every other aspect of being trans, at least for me. It's complex and nuanced with layers, and there's no easy answer or even an easy way to explain it. Since realizing and accepting my transness and being out and becoming more my true self with every passing day, birthdays have been even more different because on each one I've been more me than ever. And one of the biggest changes came from the first time I finally got to go to a gathering with people I didn't know as myself and discovered what an amazing new experience it was. See Confidence on episode 31, and especially the essay on Confidence 2 Into the Unknown, aka What is Happening, aka A Whole New World, at
TillysTransTuesdays.com,
for how getting to be who I really am changed so much of how I interact with the world. And I had the realization that I could have this on my birthday for me. Yes, I want that so much. It would make me ludicrously happy. But I'm not used to feeling that way. I actually feel like I want to celebrate, which I guess is what birthday parties are supposed to be all about. Hey, I survived another year in this mess of a world. Hooray. Last year, I had my first real birthday quote-unquote party ever. And it wasn't really a party. It was just me hanging out with friends in the outdoor beer garden at a nearby brewery. And I don't drink, but, like the place we go has some nice non-alcoholic drinks and usually a food truck or two. And it was just lovely. It was just so perfectly lovely. My friends who were free came out just to be with me, to celebrate that I made it through another year, and we hugged and talked, and it just filled me with so much joy and love. This is why people have birthday parties? Extraordinary. Another fabulous thing I've been missing my entire life. But it's still kind of discombobulating. It's such a wild and completely unforeseen shift in my life. For more on the wild ways transition can do that in so many ways you might not expect, see Freeing Up My Brain, Lunch with Tilly at
TillysTransTuesdays.com.
Episode 76 on unexpected bonuses of transition, and episode 77 on unexpected changes from transition. I'm going to have another birthday hang this year. Are we real life friends? Are you in LA or willing to travel here? Because I'd love for you to be there celebrating with me. What are birthdays like for you now, Suli? Do they make you happy or want to celebrate? Are they still difficult?
It's a combination of both.
Yeah.
I still have this deep set anxiety, usually like a week or two before my birthday, of just like, oh God, it's coming up.
Yeah.
And every year since coming out, and especially since finding kind of like my group of people, my friends that accept me for who I am and love me for who I am, I always have fun and I always have a good time, and I really enjoy it because it gets to be like what I wanted to do with the people that make me happy. And
Yeah.
it's what I want out of birthdays. And it's especially like what I didn't get to have before.
Right.
But I think that anxiety it doesn't really go away because it's been there for so long that like
Yeah.
there's always kind of this thought in your head of like it's my birthday, so like I have to brace myself for it.
Right. Yeah. It's hard when you've had to do that your whole life. It just becomes this like automatic response that because you did it for so long and it was awful and rough for so long that it's really hard to get away from that feeling.
I think what a large part of it is growing up, my birthdays were always kind of to please other people, to
Yeah.
let my mom plan the parties, to please the people who were supposed to be the guests for the friends, and I was just kind of like the conduit for it. And it would be celebrating not me, but like the person that was in their heads, that this person
Yes.
that wasn't me, this person with a different name. Which, as a side note, dropping my old name was the greatest feeling I've ever had in my life. I'm so glad it's gone.
Yeah, same.
But but yeah, it would be like celebrating like this other person that they all had perceptions of, and it was never me, but I still had to be there, and I still had to play host and play, the happy birthday person. And like if there was a wish, I had to sit there for the song, and they say the wrong name, and then I have to blow out the
Mm,
candles and pretend like I'm wishing for something that isn't just my life to be different.
yeah.
And and then every year would come back again, like this is my time to be the host. This is my time to be the character. And
Yeah.
every year since, even though now I am who I want to be, and I am happy with myself, and I do love myself. And that is honestly, I think, harkening back to the first question, like the greatest change. I love myself.
Yeah. Right?
And
I didn't know that was possible.
right, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's great. And I think that's like the big turning point for like not only every trans person in their like journey through transitioning, but I think that is what's going to be changing the world, is for us, for trans people, to be able to love themselves no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's hard and it's difficult, and like birthdays themselves are a large hurdle to it, because how could you when everyone's loving this other person?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so with birthdays now, even though I've planned it, I've picked a restaurant that I want to do, I've picked an activity I want to do, I've picked the people I want to be there, I still have that thought deep in my head, or that feeling deep in my gut, that's like it's come back around again. It's going to be the same thing, and I have to be prepared for disappointment. And then the day actually comes, and then I'm like, oh no, wait, this was good, and I'm happy, and I love this, and this is just the the years before that are just kind of going in a little spiral there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that they're better for you now, and I hope that with time and maybe a few more of them, that pre-birthday anxiety will start to lessen, and you'll just get to be excited to celebrate who you are now.
Yeah, and I guess I to it's not like the anxiety is like the dominant feelings. It's more like a little voice. I am mostly excited,
Yeah.
and I love food so much. I
Same.
it makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And so just knowing we're going to a restaurant that I like or something, because I love sharing my favorite places with people. So
Yeah.
just kind of like having that, I the excitement that I feel is far superseding the anxiety. But it's just I think it's just a part of the process.
Yeah. Well, if I could write a letter to that kid who didn't understand birthdays, who always felt broken, or that the world was broken, or that everything was broken, and tell her what was coming, this is what it would be. Hey, Tills, I know you feel weird. I know you always feel weird, like you don't belong, like you don't fit in the world, like the world is made for everyone but you. Even when you're happy, even when you're with people you love, something's always off, like a splinter in your mind. Some really smart and talented ladies wrote that line in a movie that's going to knock you on your ass for reasons you won't realize until later. And you're actually going to come to be known for talking about those movies, and it's going to help other people like you in ways you can't even imagine. And I know that for a fact because they've told me. But I can only show you the door. You're the one who has to walk through it. Did you know that there's a reason when you were 6, you were devastated when your friend Chucky's older sister was having a sleepover with her friends, and he got to go because he lived there, but you didn't because they thought you were a boy? And there's a reason you were more upset about not getting to hang out with the girls at the sleepover than you were about not getting to hang out with Chucky all night. Always wondered why that was, huh? Believe me, I know. There's a reason you kept that barrette you found in the street while walking home from school in 4th grade and hid it in your room and put it in your hair every time you were home alone. You never knew why you did it. It embarrassed you a bit even though no one knew because boys didn't do that. Why would you do that? What's wrong with you, you freak? I hear you wondering that over and over again, and it breaks my heart. Nothing is wrong with you, you beautiful, tortured little child. What's wrong is the way the world treats you based on your biology and who they decide that makes you. That's all it is. It doesn't make you a freak, and it doesn't mean this world isn't for you. It just means you're a girl. Yes, you are. I am. Look at me. Look at me. Do you see? Can you imagine? This is you one day. You will get here. Don't give up. It's going to feel like it takes forever, but you can't give up. And don't give me that. You are so a girl. Despite the fact you never believed in God, how many times did you fall asleep literally praying you'd somehow magically wake up as a girl? How many? It's okay, I can't count that high either. But did you know cisgender boys don't do that? They don't. It's not a thing every boy does. But that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It's just your brain trying to work stuff out. It's your subconscious telling you something that it's going to take you a very long time to figure out. But it's there, and it's the truth, and it's just waiting for you to find it. And so much happiness is waiting for you on the other side. So keep putting that barrette in your hair. Keep looking at girls you have a crush on and finding them almost as cute as their clothes. Keep looking at their hair and wondering what it would be like to have hair like that. You don't have the words or the knowledge yet to explain who you are, but that doesn't change the truth. You know it, you feel it deep in your heart, even though you can't express it. I know because I can feel it too, even now, being who I am today. Who I've always wanted to be, who I am, because it's who you are, and I can still feel inside me how you felt then. I know the pain and the longing and the sadness and how nothing at all makes sense because of this one thing, and how that plagues you and won't give you a moment's peace, but you'll get through it and your future's going to be amazing. Your best friend in the world is going to be your wife, and you're going to love her more than you thought it was possible to ever love anyone or anything in the entire universe. She's going to light up your world like you can't imagine. It's all true, babe. You're also going to have a kid, and being a parent is going to be the toughest, most exhausting, most amazing, most rewarding thing you've ever experienced, and you will love that kid in ways you never knew were possible. And you're a writer, and you're working on TV shows and comics, and you run a podcast production company. I know you don't know what those are yet. Don't interrupt me, smartass. And that endless imagination is going to be put to wondrous use telling stories for others. And the world won't be so strange anymore. I mean, it's still effed up in a lot of ways, do not get me wrong, but you'll always fight to make it better, so definitely keep that up. But that splinter in your mind, you'll find it and you'll rip it out and you'll heal, and suddenly the world will make a lot more sense. And you'll have wonderful people who love you and support you to help you every step of the way. And there's so much beauty waiting for you, around you, and in you. Thanks for being here, Suli. Hey, little Tilly. Don't give up. Keep fighting. You're a girl, and that's beautiful. Let the tears come, then wipe them away and stay strong. You will make it. I love you, Tills. Happy birthday. Tilly Bridges, end transmission. You say that all the time. It's like your thing. Don't worry about it. P.S. Your wife and kid are making you tomato risotto for dinner because the future is magic. I know you don't know what that is. Just shut up and trust me. No, you shut up. No, you shut up. It's really great. I mean it. What? No, it's like fancy mac and cheese, but with rice and ketchup. You'll be fine. Jesus. Sorry, little me would have responded that way. I had to put it in. Tilly's Trans Tuesdays is hosted by Tilly Bridges and Susan Bridges, with audio editing and sound mixing by Jillian Morgan. The written essay version of this week's topic and all past topics is available at tillystranstuesdays.com. Special thanks to Daisy and Jane for the use of Sorry Not Sorry as our show's theme music. Please stop by and show your support at daisyandjane.bandcamp.com and soundcloud.com/daisyandjane. You can find me at Tilly Bridges on Blue Sky and on Mastodon at tillybridges at mastodon.social, and you can find Susan on those at Susan L. Bridges. You can find Jillian at Audio Jillian on Blue Sky. You can join the Tillyverse Discord server by following the link at the very bottom of tillystranstuesdays.com. We hold regular watch parties for the Matrix films and other trans movies where I do a live Q&A, and it's blossomed into a wonderfully supportive, compassionate, kind community of friends. We'd love to have you join us. If you'd like to keep up with all the writing that Susan and I do, you can sign up for our newsletter at birdguestbroadcast.com. If you enjoy this show, please take a moment to leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts. The largest segment of our listeners find the show there, and more reviews equals a higher profile, which means it will reach more of the people who need it. Thank you for your support. For more information, visit pendantaudio.com. Thanks for listening.